Hello, Bio 110 students. This is Katie, and
Todd.
we are here to talk to you about how to study for Bio 110 and for any of your college level science classes or other classes, and also to talk about exams. So, congratulations, you're done with exam one. You either did really well, in which case you already have a good handle on how to study for the class, or maybe you didn't do so well, but you could probably use some study tips to improve your test taking. We also wanted to let you know the lecture exams are worth 30%, so they're not worth all of your grade. And if you do well on the other assignments, it'll help, pull up your grade. Also, your lowest lecture exam will be replaced by your comprehensive final exam if you do better on your comprehensive final. So this exam, you could even have had a 0 on it. And if you do well on your comprehensive final, it'll completely replace it. So I wanted to go through some study tips, or, we wanted to. First off, don't wait till the night before or even a couple of days before to study for the exam. It's just too much material in a college level science class, okay? You need to be studying all along. And usually the recommended amount of study time is 2 to 3 hours per week per college credit hour per class. So how much would that be, Todd? We have a 4 credit class.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah.
A 4 credit class, that's 8 to 12.
Right, 8 to 12. So you should be studying 8 to 12 hours a week for this class. Plus, normally when you're in a class, if it's a live class, you go to school and you go maybe 2 to 3 times a week and you listen to 3 hours of lecture every week. And for science, 2 hours of lab. So that 8 to 12 hours doesn't include the 3 hours of lecture and the 2 hours of lab every week. So put that on top of it. So first off, it's going to be really good to make sure you have the hours in for this class and to set up a schedule for working on the class. Another thing about it, now this is really good since you are online, you don't have to listen to the whole hour-and-a-half lecture at one time, which if it was a live class, it'd be an hour-and-a-half lecture at a time, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. What you can do is you can divide your lecture into 30-minute chunks. And that's what I would recommend, that you go ahead and you might read the lecture notes, read over some of them, listen to the 30-minute lecture audio, and then after that, do the review sheet on that section. So you may have just spent an hour of time, but you've repeated what you've looked at 3 times. And then you'll need a break because your head might start feeling fuzzy. At that point, put in a break. So if you're studying morning and afternoon 3 days a week, or maybe you're studying every day for a couple of hours, but schedule in the breaks. And I'll have a little more to add to that, but Todd, do you have anything to add to that?
I want to jump back to the don'ts. Yeah, a lot of people like to, at least in high school, cram for an exam. It's not a good idea. If you cram for an exam, you're just cramming as much information as you into your head as possible, and then hoping it all doesn't leak out before you take the exam, and it certainly will leak out after the exam. So you're not really learning much, and you won't have learned it for the final comprehensive exam. So it's not a good plan. I'm also a big believer in sleep. Um, Come to class or come to the exams wide awake and not sleep deprived, right? In here, you get to pick when you take the exam. So be smart about it. Don't leave it till the last minute, and don't be sleep deprived where you can't think and make appropriate judgments based on the information you've learned.
Now, that's actually really good advice. And that is great advice for a live class too, because a lot of times you cannot pick when it's going to be, and people stay up 3 days in a row because they hadn't studied in advance and they're just putting all this information in, and they come in all worried and nervous and, plus sleep deprived. And then, maybe they'll eat like a really high carb meal and be exhausted or something like that. So I'm going to share something with you. Okay, so we're going to look at our next chapter or next module, and it's going to be under content. And if you look here, we're going to go module 2. Now, if you didn't see this, hopefully you'll notice exam 1 review material, exam 2 review material. So those have the review sheets and the answers. But if you look, we had so much to do in module 1, but then when you go to module 2, here's how short this little table is. And here's all of your assignments and your notes. And if you can't find them, you can go up and look in the assignments bar. But so right here, here's your notes. You have the PowerPoint, you have the review sheet. So what I would do is go to the notes, look over the notes, maybe look over them with the PowerPoint. They're the same notes, just with pictures on the PowerPoints. And here's the audio lecture right here for chemistry. And I'll tell you, even though the chemistry unit is shorter, sometimes it's hard for people to grasp the material. So you really want to make sure that you're starting on it and keeping up with the material. And if you don't understand something, you can email us and we can help you. But so here's the audio lecture. And a lot of students have said that the audio lectures are very helpful to them. So I would consider going over the notes and your audio lecture, your 3 hours in lecture that you would have in a live class. And then working on the review sheet will be part of your study time. So here's the review sheet. And the answers for the review sheet are going to be right in here, but fill it out yourself, okay? And then check your answers. That way, you're not going to learn the material nearly as well if you don't fill it out yourself. Don't forget, you have the quiz. Like, where's the quiz? Right here, quiz 3. So if you spend one study session going over half the notes or 30 minutes of the notes, and then going over the review sheet, and then you spend another session going over the notes, listening to the audio section, filling out the rest of the review sheet. Once you filled out all of the material for the review sheet, then you should take the quiz. And if you do really poorly on the quiz, remember, you can take the quizzes as many times as you want, and you get the highest grade. You can even take them throughout the semester to help you study for the final exam. And I'll tell you, most of these quiz questions, if you might have noticed from exam 1, most of the quiz questions on exam 1 were from, or most of quiz 2 questions were on exam 1. Okay. So now there were 50 questions plus 2 bonuses, and there are for most of these exams, at least. With those, the questions are taken from, 95% of the questions are from the quizzes over that unit and the review sheets. So if that's the material that you study the most, then that should be helpful to you. And if you do poorly on a quiz, study the material again and retake the quiz. If you can't figure out what you keep missing on the quiz, then email me and Todd, and one of us will let you know. We won't just put it out for everyone, though, because everyone will just look at all the answers and then they'll just take the quiz a second time and get everything right. So you want to try to figure it out. You can use your notes. So anything to add to that, Todd?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Okay. But make sure you're listening to the audio lecture, and it will help you understand the material. As you're learning it, make sure you understand it. And then in your study time, you go back and you make sure that not only are you understanding it, you're remembering it. The other thing too, we don't ask you questions on the exams over the labs and the discussions, but they are designed to help you understand the material in the lectures. So make sure you do the discussion in the labs when they're due. So that will help you out on the exam, just in understanding the material. The other thing, the comprehensive final, don't wait for the last week to start studying for that. Just go back and look over your old notes every so often. Maybe schedule once a week, once every other week. Look over all your old review sheets from old exams. By the time you get to the final, then you'll be just fine. And you can just take the quizzes just for fun whenever you want. You will still have, you'll have about 4 days between exam, the last exam and the final exam, but still you'll have other exams for your other classes. So anything to add for lecture, Todd? Because I want to tell them something really quick about the labs.
Tell them about the lab.
Okay, so for the labs, I found that some people are, it looks like they're doing the labs exactly perfect, and that's great. And other people, it's, there's been a couple of issues, and I'm going to tell you what's really, really going to help, okay? If you go and look within or below the lab assignment, then there is a video. And if you go and follow the video, it literally is me going through the lab step by step. So if you have all of your supplies with you, then you can start and stop the video as needed, and you can follow along with the labs. And I really like these labs for the chemistry module, although the one where you have the balloons, when we did that live last semester, we had a hybrid class and did the lab live every week. I didn't have a problem with this at home, but a few people did have a problem with the balloons, one or two of the balloons leaking from the bottle where they had it attached. That's not acids and bases. That's a chemical reactions lab. So you may want to either tape the balloon to the bottom or get some rubber bands and put them around that. But we had just seen that recently, just last semester. This acids and bases one, you're going to need to get some red cabbage, and make sure that you look at the PowerPoint slideshow and that you fill out the tables correctly. And that one is really going to be helpful if you watch the video. If you read over it in advance or look at things in advance and you have questions, let us know. And I believe either of us can help you with the lab, even though Todd's mostly lecture and I'm mostly lab. We've both done this lab, so there you go. I think that is it for me. If you have any questions about the material, let us know, and we'll do what we can to help you. So, anything else to add, Todd?
No, I said absolutely. I agreed with you.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, then I guess we will let you go. Have a great week and have fun with the lab this week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Stop sharing.